Now, there was a question that came in that somewhat goes along with that. Everybody wants to know how they did after you complete the screen. So Caitlin would love to hear your explanation, your closing of the scoring and how you transfer that into business.
Really good question. I don't explain scoring. So I don't explain, here's a 1, here's a 2, here's a 3. I don't explain anything that I'm writing down. I just take notes. If you explain, okay, the FMS, I'm looking for a 1 or a 2, or if you do a 2 and you explain how the FMS works, you might feel like, okay, I'm going to give you a bunch of information so you feel more comfortable doing it because I'm explaining to you how it works. It genuinely doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter. So I'm going to take you through a movement screen. I'm going to take some notes on your mobility and your movement patterns. And so if you tell them you're scored by this is a good score, this is a bad score, this means we need, a lot of people will use a quote unquote bad FMS in order to agitate pain and be like, you got a 0 on your squat. And if we don't fix that, you're going to have problem. Now, there's 2 different sales tactics. One is sales tactic by massaging the pain and staying on the pain. The other is by finding the pleasure, right? And it's hard to mix the 2. You can bounce between the 2, but it really gets difficult if you start massaging the pain with somebody who gets stuck on that and stuck on that and stuck on that. I don't like to use that tactic. I constantly focus on, we're going to focus on what the solution is, and we're going to focus on what you want to accomplish and how I can help you accomplish that. Doesn't mean don't acknowledge the pain. If somebody's like, my back hurts, you can tell them, yeah, that's difficult. You know, a back pain can affect a lot of things in your life. So let's do what we can to get you out of that pain. Okay. So don't spend a lot of time on it. Acknowledge it, but we don't have to spend a lot of time on it. So if you don't give someone a scorecard to use, then you don't end up with the question that says, what was my score? And is that a good score? Is that a bad score? They may ask you, and now think about it. If we have everything laced in, I'm going to take you through the screen. Here's what we're going to do. We do it side by side. Because remember, look at the whole picture that I painted for you. We do it side by side. I take notes. Perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for. What did they primed in their mind? Oh, okay. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And that's all that matters. The score is irrelevant. The score is completely irrelevant for them. Now, if you have somebody that you occasionally, very occasionally, we run across a person that loves to see the data, loves to see the programming, loves to see the numbers, wants to all know that stuff. If you have an opportunity to build rapport in that way, because it's that kind of person, then you can have that conversation. But in the decade of functional movement screens I've done, that's rare. It's less than 20%. And I look at problems this way. If less than 20% of this is a problem, then I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to focus on the 80% that does outstanding. That's an outlier, and we can manage that accordingly. So don't give people a scorecard. It's not that we're hiding anything. It's just that it doesn't, like, at some point we have to draw the line as to what we explain, right? We have to draw the line. Otherwise it's like, okay, so you got a 2 on your FMS. I take it the other way. You got a 2 on your FMS. That means that you can't get down in a full squat without your heels fully elevated. So what that's going to mean from your programming is we're probably going to start you with some sort of like kettlebell squat. We put a little bit of weight forward to get you to get that hinge. And then I'll probably do you in a rep range of like 8 to 10 reps to get you started here. And then if that doesn't work, then we'll progress you to a lower weight or to body weight. If that does work, then we'll progress you to higher weight. How much are you going to explain? Like, where do you draw the line as to, I'm going to give you this huge explanation beforehand, this huge explanation afterwards, or I'm just not going to give you a whole bunch of explanation because you don't need that right now. We got time for that. We got time 3 months from now when we're rescreening you for the FMS, and then I can show you how your scores improved. Then we can explain that. If we try to over-educate people in the beginning, this is what we run into. The more you give somebody to stuff, the more things you give someone to think about, the more likely you're going to end the sale with, I need to think about it. If you don't want to get the objection, I need to think about it. Stop giving them so much stuff to think about. Give them only what they need and only what they ask for. You've got 3 to 7 years of having that client under your wing to teach them everything else.
Yeah, I do want to follow that up with that at our courses. Guys, go back to what we teach at the FMS courses. This information is for you, the professional, to make decisions about what the best opportunity is for that person in front of you. And we certainly don't want to movement shame anybody by pointing out how bad they did on something. So I really love that perspective of, I do that with people like, great, that was perfect. Thank you. And move on, right? You don't need to make them feel bad about what they did.